Hi listeners, Harika here, and I'm super excited to welcome you to Upptalk. If you're ready to learn and get your hands work wonders in the world of information technology, then you're in the right place. When I say Upptalk, we are not just another edtech company. Consider we are your learning partner committed to unlocking your full potential. Whether you're stepping into the world of technology for the first time or looking to advance your career, we provide top-tier, hands-on courses to build up your career. Let's take our first step towards learning here and explore it. Let's investigate SAP, a well-known enterprise resource planning system, and discover its many functionalities and business applications.
This is a save button. The role is saved and it is successfully activated. There are no issues in assigning a package privilege or an analytical privilege or the object privileges. So this one is for BI. We have assigned BC. We have assigned with all the necessary privileges that we want. And the role is activated successfully. If you want to add anything else, you are always free to do it. Like let us say, if you want to add latest one to create that. Instead of selecting all, if you select a schema like I am trying to assign a schema object. So I will select schema. Otherwise, it will give you every data which is not needed for you, basically. I click on and what I want to give. The schema I will give select and secure. I want to add one more schema which is latest. 1, 2, 3. Latest 1, 3. Type is schema. It came. Luckily, there is no schema, no other schema with latest 1, 2, 3. That's why you got it. But it is always feasible to select the schema. And obviously the repository underscore. REST is a procedure type. Procedure object, which is already assigned. Let me save it. Some issues has come see. Error while activating on a DB role. Insufficient privilege. Detailed info for this error can be found with so on. So it is saying that we have some insufficient privilege to assign. These things. Let us see what happens. Let us close it and let's see what is added here. Let us expand the package role design and let us access our role which is created. But I see that the privileges are also added. You can ignore this. All the privileges are added. I will take. The privileges are added. Everything looks good. So now we'll let us go. Let us create a user. Let us try to assign this access to the user. I can. But now I'll assign the role which we have created. What is the role which you have created? Is the role design a 0? The role design is 0. I have assigned this role. So no privileges are assigned explicitly. All the privileges will come with this role only. Whatever changes or whatever additional access you want to give, you have to edit the role and you have to assign it to the user. User is created. Let's test all access. He will have his common privilege, which is created by default. Just test his role. And he will not have seen he is not having any privilege. That means he has the privileges, but that access will come from the role only. You are not supposed to assign any privilege explicitly until and unless it is very urgent. There are some scenarios in production system you might need a privilege which is very urgent and you cannot wait for the role to ask for a month system to another system. In such instances, you can do this, but it is not recommended. So we have the role assigned. Let us log in with this test role and let us see test role user ID and let's see what happens. Test_role. I have created that user. There is a test role. Let me see the content. I am able to see the content because I have assigned, and let's see what package group. I will send everything. So that's the reason why I'm able to see everything. But in ideal scenario, you will not assign everything to the user. You will only assign a package. Let me try to assign. Let me try to check. Is that the latest? This is a view which you have created. Let us see if you are able to access it or not. So I've created a test role. I've assigned all the privileges that are needed for this test role, and I'm able to access the data that we wanted to see. I'm able to see the data. So this is about your repository role creation. So for repository role creation, you have to create a package under the content folder. In the content folder, you're going to have the package. Under the package, you're going to create the role and you can assign all the privileges that are needed for your user. But the basic privileges are always the same, guys. Repository SISP. SISP is the mandatory privilege, and whatever analytical privilege you want to assign to the user, you can assign it. If you have created any analytical privilege, you should assign them an package privilege. Although it depends actually what packages the user might need access, and the system privileges actually varies. System privileges is up to you basically. So what kind of access you want to give? Suppose you want to create a user as a workflow admin user or a workload analyzer admin user. I have created a user admin. So I have assigned user admin. I have assigned adapted admin and ACE in admin so that I'll be able to create users in the system. So similarly, if you want to create some role admin user who is responsible for creating roles, I'll give access to role admin. For day users, I'm going to give every role standard role which is marked as a repo here. So repo, or who is going to do the reporting activities, basically the reporting developer. So he needs all this access to monitor admin, who is going to get the monitor admin access to auditor. Log admin, who wants to check the log or license admin or log LDAP connection, who wants to check the LDAP connection basis guy. So he'll get the basis. He'll get the LDAP thing. Who wants to be import and export? Almost everybody needs import and export access. Why? Suppose if there is a package that has to be, there is let us say, a runtime package you have. So runtime packages cannot be imported. So what do you need to do? If you want to have the package from once, the system, you need to export the package and you need to import that package. I'll show you this. So for that we need these privileges. So similarly, for each and every action that you want to commit in the system, you have sufficient privileges that are given basically. Only thing is that you should never assign these privileges directly to the user. You should always go with the roles concept. You have to create a role just like I created now. And you have to assign the access to the user. Simply. So I have assigned only the package latest. But what happened? I have assigned some additional privileges like agent admin and adapter admin. So what happened because of this is that I've got elevated access. If I'm not adding these privileges, it will obviously show me error because in HANA authorization table, what I did in HANA authorization table, I did not add this new user test on score. And I have not added what kind of data he needs to see in that authorization table. But still it is showing me the access. Because I got a wider access because of the system privilege. So always be careful. If you are giving higher access, let us say, if you are in such wider access to the user, you will not be able to restrict anything. This analytical privilege. Without this analytical privilege also, user will obviously be able to access any data because he's meant to write if he has additional access. So this is a repository role, local role. Anyways, you will not create it. It's waste of time actually. This system is inconsistent, but in real time, you will be able to create a role locally. But it is of no use if you are not able to transport it, because in development, let us say, if you have to create a new system, it is not feasible. And also your auditor, and whichever company, is auditing your system, like you have to follow some compliance rules as per the standards. You'll call this SOPS compliance or ISO standards. You need to follow it as a company. So, as per these standards, you should not create anything directly in the quality system or production system. So it will give you, like the auditing company will give you a certificate saying that this company is complying with the process or with the standards. If you are not following these standards, it will obviously say that this company is not following these standards because of so and so reasons. So your company never wants that. So your company will always follow the standards. So what are the standards that we need to follow? Nothing has to be changed in the production system or the quality system directly. Every change should come with the transport. So that is why transport is important here. Now we have completed the roles concept. When it comes to the transport concept, let me give you an example. We have created a schema here. Let us select a schema called latest. We have created this latest scheme. Latest schema. What we have done, we have created some tables. Based on these tables, what we have done, we have created some views on package latest. So far, latest package. What is a prerequisite for latest package? The prerequisite is the latest schema, so both needs to be imported into the other system if you want them to work. So what you are going to do? For now, we only have one system base, which has to be. I'll ask if there is any possibility to create another system so that we can see how we are going to transport. But without that also we can understand the concept. It is not a big thing. Like in the real-time scenario you'll have the systems like this. You'll have the quality and production. Let us say now you have DB, but in the real time, you'll have something called PDB, QDB, and DDB, which would be stands for production, Q stands for quality, and D stands for your development system. Now you don't have the such privilege here in the server because nothing is created as of now. I can ask the admin to create it. And in the next class we can see how we are going to transport it, but I'll tell you the whole concept behind it. So you need to transport this package. So what you're going to do? You're going to basically write the latest. We'll get an option called export. So you want to export it to another system that you do not want to import something into your own system. Click on export. So the package is already selected because I directly clicked on the package latest. If you are selecting anything on the catalog, it might ask you to search the filter, but I directly selected the schema itself. Click on next here. We have all the options. If you want to import the catalog on the server, you can do this, but we never do it. We import the obvious as a current client. The parallel threads is always one, and you can give some directory. I'll go to desktop. There is some folder created. Or if it is not created, I'm going to create a new folder here. New folder, and then it has schemas. And I'll select this folder for our export. I finished exporting. So once I finished exporting, then go to schemas and you can see the exported schema here. You have the index and export. Next, what you have everything in index. You have the latest what you can do now. You can use this schema for importing. So I'll go to the source. This is the source system. I'll go to the target system. Let us say you have another system. This is the same system. But imagine that this is another system. You can click on this. You can click on catalog and you can click on import. Import catalog from current client and you can browse. Go to desktop, select schemas, select folder and click on next. And you will see all the data under this schema, which is all the table data and all the relevant data that is under the schema. Select everything, add it. Click on next. It will give us some error. Usually, if you want to replace existing catalog objects, you can do it. Click on it. Click on finish. It is done. So that is how you basically export and import from one system to another system. Whether it is a role or whether it is a catalog or whether it is a package, it is the same procedure. This is one way of doing it. This is the manual process, and manual process is not entertaining our organization. You should never do it manually until and unless it is very urgent and you get approval from your compliance team. You are not going to do it because this is very critical for the company. You shouldn't bypass the compliance rules. If people are doing in such a way, then there is no control. Let us say Nelbe has created some X package and he has imported it to quality. I have a similar package with the same name in the quality system and it gets overwritten. Who is responsible for that? You are responsible. I think you are moving it to with the transport. Whoever is like moving the transport. Like you will not. Obviously, like there is some concept called as a disaggregation of duty. At the same person cannot do the entire process. If this security consultant will move this or the transport team will move this to the development. Usually there will be two people. What we will only create? We will only do the export. You will only create a transport in an ideal scenario. You not export. Exactly. You will only export and some other person is going to import it into the target system. Whoever is going to do the import, they will take the approval from the compliance. It depends actually. Whoever is going to export should also take the approval. And before importing, the person who is responsible for importing it will basically check if all the approvals are in place or not. Like, let us say, in my organization, what they're doing is that we have a tool called Jira, which will monitor all this process, whatever exactly. Here is a ticketing tool. And in this ticketing tool, you will have something called user story created in it. In this user story, you will give all the data that you have done, like what role you have created. And let us say this role will be reviewed by some compliance approver in the same task. Like we will have subtasks in Jira user story. So you will have all the approvals in place in this Jira subtask. So, and once this Jira user story is approved, there is something called a smart sheet, which is another application which is used to track these user stories along with the approvals. So the admin who is responsible to import these user stories, to import this transport or to import the data into the target system will basically go there and he will review it and he'll get to know basically if you have the approvals or not. And he will simply upload. He will simply upload into the system. He will not take any approvals. So that is one process. But the process is always different by your company. So it might vary from organization to organization. In my organization, this is the process that they are following. In my previous organization, they used to use a tool called ServiceNow, in which everything used to be automated, like there is no manual approval needed. So once you initiate the process, like once you initiate the transporting process, the ServiceNow ticket will automatically route the approvals to your approver. And once the approver approves the ticket, automatically this ticket will be assigned to your basis admin or the admin who is responsible to import these changes to the target system. And once he is assigned with this ticket, he will simply go ahead with uploading this data into your target system. So that is one process. It varies actually. You cannot say that there is a fixed process here based on your compliance, or based on your organization policy. It might vary. And in some companies, it can also be a situation where you don't have many personnel who can do this. Like, let us say you are the only admin. Like, let us say Nelby is there. Nelby is the security admin. Nelby is the HNADB. Nelby is the modeler. Nelby is everything in your company. So in such cases, you cannot restrict it to Nelby because you only have one person in your organization. So Saudi will not work in such scenarios. So you should have multiple people for Saudi scenarios to work. So that is the process. What else I wanted to show you? I'll quickly go ahead with the transport process. Export and import is one of the transport process that we have which is not reliable. Never do it. Export and import. Never do it. We have ALM. Basically, in ALM, we have native transport, which is the standard transport that we are going to use. And CTS change and transport system is another option which is available. But for CTS, you need to have expertise on solution manager, a safety solution manager, which is a tool provided by SAP. Basically, this tool is responsible for transport mechanisms. This tool can be configured with any SAP solution which is provided, with any SAP application which is provided. And this tool will be responsible for all the transfers. Basically, what this tool like, there are many advantages with the Soman tool. Basically, it's a different topic, but Soman tool, what it does, it is used for the transport tier dependencies. Let us say Nelby, and I want to import the same package that we have done the changes, like Nelby has done some other changes to the package. I have done some different changes to the package. And let us say if we want to move the same package to the quality system, usually, what happens usually? Whoever is moving the tiers, like whoever is responsible to move these tiers, the basis team or whatever team is responsible, has to check like there are two tiers, identical tiers. Like he has to confirm, he has to go back and he has to confirm with the team asking what is the tier which has to go first. And he has to make sure that the other tier shouldn't override the changes which are done by Nelby. Suppose I say Nelby's tier is moving first into the quality system and my tier is moving next. So we shouldn't be like my changes should not override changes of Nelby. Basically, it should be the same. So what the basis admin does is that the basis admin will basically connect with Nelby and me. And he'll be basically checking what changes are done and if there can be, like if we can determine any tier sequence, like which tier should move first into the quality system. So CTs will do this job autonomously. There is no manual intervention. Let us say, if you are going manually, you might miss these tiers. You might not. There is always a chance that you might miss that. There is a tier with the same package in it. The basis. Admin will not always go into the detail, like he'll not go into the tier and he'll not check what packages are there. He'll simply get a ticket in ServiceNow and once it is approved and once it is in his bucket, he'll simply complete everything. So that is the thing. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel. For more information, contact us sales@upptalk.com.